show In Conversation. Today we have with us Mr. Vishavdeep Gautam. He is the Chief Operating Officer of WOMAR Logistics. Welcome to our show, sir.
Thank you, Capt.
Sir, we have seen recently a lot of things happening in the industry. Now we're in 2018. We would like to hear from you the recent market trends.
Capt. Virendra, as you are aware that we are specialists into the chemical tanker market.
Yes, sir.
So I will be focusing more on the chemical tanker industry.
Yes, sir.
You are well aware that the chemicals or the chemical industry is very central to all the developing and developed nations. It's an industry which is of about $5 trillion worldwide. India is about $250 billion with a further scope for a lot of growth. We have also seen that the usual per capita usage of chemicals in the developed world is much more than in the developing countries. An example is that in India, there is a consumption of about 7 to 8 kgs per person in comparison to USA, which is about 109 kgs, Brazil, which is about 32 kgs per person, and China, which is about 30 kg per person. So you can very well understand that how much is the scope for growth, both worldwide as well as in India, where a huge urbanization has to happen.
Yes,
as we talk of the chemical tanker industry, there are three notable trends that are happening. The foremost being the shale gas development in USA,
yes, sir.
Which has the capability to provide a very cheap feedstock to US. The second one is a large incremental capacity of petrochemicals in Arabian Gulf,
Right, sir.
in Middle East, so to say, which includes both Arabian Gulf and Persian Gulf. And the third factor is the increasing self-sufficiency for the polymers in China.
Right.
And for that, to achieve a self-sufficiency in olefins, they have a very expensive methanol to olefin projects and coal to olefin projects. And because of the deficit of high carbon chain products in US and their competitiveness for the low carbon chain, there will be a large increase in ton-mile demand in the chemical industry.
Okay. So
this we see happening, and this is an ongoing process at this point in time as we speak.
Okay. So you mean to say, sir, that the outlook for industry, should I understand that it is better now? It is good.
Definitely, yes. I would say that if you take into account the petroleum industry, it shall grow in the next decade at a rate of about 1.5%, CAGR of 1.5%.
Okay.
If you take other variable commodities, they would also grow at the rate of 1.5 to 2%. The petrochemical industry is the only industry which would grow at the rate of 4% CAGR for the next decade, which is the highest. And it's got to do because the chemical industry caters not only to the physiological but also the higher needs of the human beings. It has a very direct correlation with how the economy is behaving and how much disposable income various economies have at their command. You know that 2018 is likely to be one of the best growth years since 2011.
Right, sir.
The economy is likely to grow at a rate of about 3.7 to 3.8%. Some are even suggesting that the economy may grow at the rate of 4% during 2018. We have seen that the chemical tanker industry grows at a multiple of greater than 1 of the world GDP. In good years, it can be as high as 1.8 multiple. In bad years, it can be closer to 1 multiple. So even if it's a base, even in the base case scenario, the chemical industry should grow at a rate of about 4%. And if you combine it with the increase in ton-mile demand, so this should be definitely be much more than the 4%.
So here I would like to ask you, like in countries like India now, we are talking about ban on plastics. will it affect the industry and how much it will affect?
See, it is very difficult to live in this world without plastics now.
So,
Only thing is that we need to have a responsible use of plastics.
so,
There can be a ban on some low products, but as you know that even wood is being replaced by the plastics.
true.
In our day-to-day, our dashboards in the automobile industry or a lot of components in the automobile industry, aerospace industry, they are of chemical origin. I mean, the chemistry plays a major role over there. So, I think it will be very difficult to live without plastics. But what countries like India should concentrate on is the responsible usage of plastic.
So,
Yeah.
so what is the opportunity now for, let's say, the shipping industry in India? I mean to say,
Yes,
India specific.
The chemical market in India is presently close to about $250 billion.
So,
It is about 7% of the current GDP. It is likely to grow at a rate of 6 to 7% over the next decade. So, I mean, we expect this to be about closer to $350 billion market in the year 2021. There is a lot of growth that has to happen in India, and this has a direct correlation with the urbanization.
so,
India presently is only 32% urbanized.
so,
Usual developing or developed nations are about 60% or in excess of 60%. Like, I mean, US is closer to 80%, China is about 56%. In comparison, India is only 32%, which basically means that there will be a lot of housing demand, there will be a lot of infrastructure demand, there will be more disposable income in the hands of the people, and all this would lead to a change in lifestyle. So the lifestyle demands would require certain products which can only be produced by chemistry.
so,
So there will be an enhanced usage or requirement of chemicals in India, which will relating to the paints, adhesives, housing materials, automobiles, aerospace industry, semiconductor industry. We will require more specialty chemicals besides the basic chemicals. So I see a major growth of usage of chemicals in India in the times to come.
okay, so that means shipping will play an important role because we are importing a lot of chemical.
That's right. Shipping would continue to
grow in this sector.
grow in this sector. As we talk, when we talk of shipping, you know, we have to talk in terms of international trade,
So,
right? Shipping is not specific to a particular country, and of course, there are very well developed coastal trades in some parts of the world, but as far as when we see India, then we have to see in the terms of the international context.
so,
As we speak, we have a bit of an excess tonnage in this sector.
so,
This exactly a similar situation. We were exactly in a similar situation in year 2008, 9, and 10.
so,
We are exactly in a similar situation in year 2016, 17, and 18, when there have been a lot of new deliveries.
so,
Only difference is that in 8, 9, and 10, it were mainly the coated tankers. In 2016, 17, and 18, it is mainly the stainless steel tankers. So there is an excess of tonnage which has been ordered keeping in mind the growth in ton-mile demand. AG, Arabian Gulf or Middle East, and US being the major producers, and Asia, Pacific, China and India being one of the major consumers. So there has to be a big crisscross of the cargoes worldwide. But that the development is lagging behind the tonnage. So tonnage has come a bit early, the developments are yet to happen. So as a consequence of it, the capacity utilization of the chemical tankers at present is below 90%.
Right.
But we are slowly getting to a stage where the capacity utilization of chemical tankers would be 90% or more of it, and that would actually that is actually the harbinger of the better days for the chemical tanker industry.
So, here you said there is a excess tonnage, but in India, we see very few ship owners actually. You can count them on your fingers. What do you have to say about that? In India, we don't see Indian bottoms actually carrying chemicals much.
I would say yes to it for the simple reason that it's a laborious job. To run a chemical tanker is a very laborious job. I would say it is the retail segment of the organized tanker industry. It's the liquid break bulk segment.
So,
whereby if you have to make money in this segment, you will have to do a multiple usage of the tanks. You will have to have multiple parcels. So every load port could be your disport, and every disport could be your load port. I think possibly because of this fear or lack of capability, that many people are not investing in this, but it would eventually happen.
you feel it will eventually happen?
It would eventually happen because this is the sunrise industry. I mean, growth is there. So maximum growth is there in terms of all the commodities that are moving. So we will have to invest.
You feel that it is the right sector for investment?
I would say yes. If I had the money to invest of my own, I would have definitely invested in this particular sector.
I'm very sure, sir, our viewers will take note of that. And thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.